Okay, we have our next presenter, Mr. Badr Aleassa, who is the CEO of the MyU, the interactive learning platform. He's going to be speaking about the importance of interactive and personalized learning with AI in education. Badr graduated with an engineering degree from the University of Miami, worked in the oil and gas sector for 4 years before deciding to fully focus on building learning solution softwares. Badr, you have the floor, and thank you for joining our invitation, being as one of our wonderful speakers.
Welcome, Badr. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so you can share your screen, or if you would like to go the way you want, okay?
Absolutely.
So much for joining us.
Thank you, Laya. Thank you, Rana. It's a great pleasure being here and sharing insights with, I guess, like-minded individuals, people who are in the field, whom we can certainly learn so much from. And I think I've been able to share my screen. Are you able to see?
Yes, you can. You are able to.
Yes, okay.
I can see you.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thank you for having me. It's a great pleasure being here with you, and I hope that over the coming 30 minutes, I'll be able to share some insights, but definitely also learn from everyone in this panel discussion, as I've had the chance to listen to some of the amazing insights already that are very, very useful. A little bit about my story, though. So I'm not someone from the education space. I've acquired my engineering degree in 2011 from the University of Miami. After that, I worked in a very, very engineering-focused space that is so far away from education, and that's in the oil and gas space in Kuwait. The picture that you see is me literally in front of an actual oil spill in one of the oil fields in Kuwait. I was the environmental engineer at the time. So my job was to respond to spills, respond to environmental risks, and generate reports. I would wear my full engineering suit with my helmet, and I have to make sure that everyone is following these guidelines and to mitigate, any kind of health or safety or environmental risks. Fast forward to today, I am absolutely I'm still an engineer, but I followed my passion to focus in the education space. So I quit my job in this says 2025, it's actually 2015. So that's almost 10 years ago. So I quit my job in 2016 and fully dedicated myself to the education space, specifically in building technical or innovative technological solutions in the education space. So that being said, I'm not the best person to probably teach anything or even provide useful insights to a panel of educators like you in education-related topics. However, my expertise is really in developing solutions in the engineering aspect of creating solutions and making them useful to you. And today's discussion is specifically on the topic of personalized learning. And I will be emphasizing that personalized learning is not a rigid cycle. It's more of a flowy and an ongoing process that requires certain prerequisites. One of the prerequisites to achieving personalized learning is certainly personalized teaching. And what I mean by that is having or providing the space and the trust for educators to be able to experiment different teaching methods within their classes or digitally through whatever tools they have at hand, so that they can capture and be able to acquire necessary insights that enable them to achieve optimal personalized learning outcomes. We will be also discussing the experimentation cycle and how it's been inspired by the experimentation cycle that is in the digital marketing space in today's world, where it has been so much developed and there has been so much advances in that thinking front. And then discussing, interactive learning environments as also a prerequisite to achieving personalized learning. And then the key insights that are required to measure to be able to achieve that level of personalization. And then we can have an open-ended discussion on the role of AI in that entire process. How can we leverage AI to bring about and unlock more personalization within the class for each student? So is that the slide? Do I need to respond to whoever's raising their hands now, or should we?
No, go ahead, please.
right.
We would have time for Q&A. Yes.
All right, great, thanks. Okay. So personalized learning, as discussed, is more of a cycle, in my opinion. It's an ongoing cycle that starts with introducing, that is very much similar to the scientific method, if you want. It starts with an assumption, and then that assumption, gets formulated into introducing a teaching method. And then that teaching method, will be exposed to the students in the class, and then there's a process of gathering the feedback of the different students within that class. And then this feedback formulates itself into organized insights and analysis. And then those insights and analysis then can contribute to improved personalization. And then the cycle goes on and on and on and on to achieving higher and higher and higher personalization. So you go from teaching method number 1 to teaching method number 2. Could be using different, senses. Depends, of course, on the age group and on the topic. But one could be visual, the other could be, acoustic. Something could be hands-on. And then the process of gathering the feedback and turning those feedbacks into insights and analysis, the data and the capturing of those data in a way that helps in the decision making. That's really the cycle that I think needs to be developed in any class to achieve optimal personalization. So to discuss the prerequisites at hand, I think to bring about and to be able to accomplish this cycle, there has to be enough space and trust within the classroom for the teacher to be able to test these different methods and to gather insights around the different outcomes. So that, unfortunately, in the majority of the classes that I've been exposed to, at least here in Kuwait, there is certain pressure on the teachers to achieve certain outcomes, and those outcomes are oftentimes related to covering, the curricula with a certain time frame. And that pressure, that time-related pressure, doesn't give enough leeway and space for the teachers to be able to experiment with these different methods and be able to understand really the stakeholders that are the students in this case, and the strengths and the weaknesses that each of these students has, and therefore be able to cater and tailor the methods in a way that optimizes more personalization and more outcomes. Because the more personal it is, of course, the higher outcomes. And this is shown by research, and it's not it's not the topic here. I mean, we take that as a prerequisite and a given at this stage. So prerequisite number 2, having building an interactive learning environment within the class and outside of the class. So because this cycle, an integral part of this experimentation cycle depends on gathering insights and data. Those insights and data are definitely coming from the student side. And the only way, that this data can be captured is by providing or, creating and developing a more interactive environment where the students have the freedom and have the confidence to say and to respond to the teacher and provide their insights using these different methods at hand. So an environment that is that doesn't foster that, or where the student feels shy or inconfident and unable to respond or provide feedback, is certainly an environment that does not foster optimal personalized learning. Of course, this method requires not just skill, but it also requires patience. And it also goes back to the idea of having the space and the trust for the teachers to be able to achieve that. But once that's achieved, then it certainly is a driver for engagement, it's a driver for interest, and it's a driver for higher learning outcomes. The old methods of unilateral single way communication, where the students are absolute recipients, certainly is one that does not take into account the differences within the class, or provides the necessary insights for the teacher to accommodate different learning requirements. Let's go to prerequisite number 3, which is experimentation. So the experimentation cycle, as discussed in the slide before, is an ongoing cycle. It starts with, of course, an assumption. And that assumption gets refined and optimized moving forward. So the level of improvement, cycle after cycle, is optimized and enhanced with time. And the reason being is that we take the learnings from each cycle to make more educated and more, let's say, spot on, more accurate assumptions for the next cycle. And then we use that for the third cycle, and so on. So it starts with introducing a teaching method. Call it maybe view this video and tell me what you think about it. Or maybe an interactive question, or whatever method that a teacher sees to be suitable for the students and for the topic. And then it goes into gathering the feedback. And then, of course, the insights as they have initially are being received, they require further analysis and further organization before they are put in a format that shows or put in a format that provides the teacher with the confidence to make a decision based on it. And then that drives improved personalization. And then you go from that cycle to the following cycle and repeat. Of course, the faster the cycles, the more personal the process becomes. The faster the cycle means, of course, it depends on both the teacher and the student side at this level. But, I would argue that the class that goes through this cycling process, say an N number of times, versus a class that goes through this cycle, say N-1, would certainly be achieving higher personalization within the class. And then these are the key insights. In digital marketing, and that's more of like a commercial model that certainly can provide so much help and comparison when we discuss personalized learning, because essentially it's the same process, especially when we have it done online. So in digital marketing, we learn about the concept of the marketing funnel. And that is, the idea is basically that, when you expose a certain segment to a marketing material, which of course has the direct aim to engage and to drive the students, the recipients all the way to the desired conversion. But you always end up with a category of people who will have, the awareness about what has been shared, and then a narrower category that develops interest, and then a narrower one which develops a desire, and then you go from desire to action to conversion. And I think this is very much similar to what happens in the classroom, or even in introducing digital tools. So whether the content is being shared online or offline, it's very much a similar situation. You always expose the students, so the students go from being exposed to a content, and then a narrower segment of those students develop attention, and then comprehension, and then confidence, if you will. And then those confident students will certainly be achieving higher marks than the rest of the class. And then in digital marketing, they become loyals and they become ambassadors to the brand. I think in learning, this cycle develops to making students become peer tutors for their classmates about the subject at hand. So since 2016, I've been focused on creating an interactive learning environment that helps in the off-class time and offers the flexibility and the tailoring required for the teachers and for the students through a microblogging experience that is very much similar to today's social media platforms, to be able to test different educational content by sharing them, generating these insights, viewing those data, and be able to make educated decisions on the type of content that is working versus content that is less engaging by the students. And that's the core of what we do in MyU. Last year, we were able to win first place in the Ministry of Education EdTech Award. And it's been an exciting journey that I would love to, respond to any questions about anyone, from anyone that is interested to learn more about our platform. So where do we fall within the social platform mix? So we certainly find ourselves in a very niche and unique space where we connect learning communities, the way traditional social media platforms connect different segments like family and friends, social circles, and professional communities. And that's essentially what MyU does. I think that's everything that I wanted to discuss today. I think I finished faster than I expected, but maybe we can leverage the remaining time in the Q&A, where I'll be also excited to, learn from, you as educators about maybe different applications of personalized learning and interactive learning within the classes, and the different maybe technological tools that you were able to use, and then where you see the gaps and insights for someone like me to try and fill those gaps and provide the desired experience that brings about higher personalization outcomes.
Thank you so much, Badr, for an insightful presentation. And I myself teach remotely, and I work with US as one of the jobs that I have, and I use the LMS Canvas, as you're familiar with it. And
Yes.
it somewhat relates to MyU, but in a different setting. And I find it very useful at the beginning. When the pandemic hit, none of us knew how to even function, how to transition online, how to even work with different LMSs. So I find it very helpful. You have to become licensed to teach it, but once you get used to it, it's kind of addictive. I'm sure it is the same as MyU.
Yeah, actually, we're close partners. We're a community partner with the Instructure, the company that owns Canvas, and they're to us they're a tool like a benchmark really that we always look at and try and learn and understand, and they're years ahead in achieving that, and in the different suites of tools that they offer to educators. It's incredible.
It is very incredible. Like because of especially with the asynchronous classes, after you design your own course, you can pre-record everything, and there's no need for live Zooms sessions to be held.
Yeah.
But just do that on the side to have some sort of an interaction with my students, so that they see that we're not just chatbots or robots in a way.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think learning management systems are developing in a way that removes that robot feel from them, where traditionally they developed in a way that's very rigid, where the student doesn't really feel the presence of the teacher, and they just interact with the tool and maybe view the content, submit their homework, and that's it. And that's really let's say the old model or the traditional model of interaction in the classroom using tech tools. But I think everyone is now developing their tools in a way that makes the teacher very much an integral part of the experience. And
yes, go ahead.
Sorry, just before you start, Badr, would you like to show the platform? Because some people were writing they couldn't find the website. Would you like to show the platform itself? Maybe for just quickly share your screen and show how to access it. A lot of people are asking me.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that might take 3 minutes from my time to be able to put it on the screen.
It's all right. We do have extra time during coffee. We can ask questions during that time also. But if you could show them how to access it.
Yeah. Sure.
Just one question that I have. How close MyU is to Canvas as far as teaching?
There's so much overlap between what we do and what Canvas does. So we're both in the learning management system space. And learning management system tools, they share so much in common. Actually, in the majority of time, they share all the functions. So the only differentiator becomes the user experience and the layout of the platform. And that plays a huge role in defining the segment that this LMS is most suitable for. Now, the way we designed our tool is we very much looked into the example of today's social media platforms and the microblogging experience that they've been able to create. Because those this microblogging experience makes sure that the personalization experimentation process that we discussed is very much optimized. Every single post that goes into this platform develops insights, impressions, viewers, engagements, who are the viewers, who are the engagers, and whatnot. So the teacher could use a tool like this where they can really on the fly be able to share different types of educational material. One could be a video, or it could be in the form of an interactive question, or maybe a picture. This process makes sure that that you have this cycle very much optimized and ongoing at all times. So we made sure that MyU follows social media examples. So people who use MyU actually feel that they're using maybe Twitter or WhatsApp or Facebook. And we made it as such purposefully to provide the familiarity required to help these students and teachers be able to really not focus on the technology and on the tool, but have it kind of like a given factor, a baseline from which they run experimentation and they communicate and they engage and they drive more interactivity and personalization into their classes. So that is MyU. This is the experience, very much a mobile-friendly experience where I'm viewing it currently as a teacher. I can create different types of content using different tools. Could be in the form of a like a voice note maybe, or like a picture, or a video, or a file, or an interactive question with a defined due date and time, maybe graded or ungraded. And do that on the fly.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So I'm not sure why some of you may not have been able to find MyU. You can certainly find it online through our website, myu.co, or you could find it on the store by searching MyU. And it should be the first one.
Free platform, or you have to pay for it?
No, it's free. It's free. Yeah, it's free for teachers. So any teacher anywhere can use MyU in their classes. Of course, there's a full version that's like an institution version where they have more control and more administrative tools. That is a paid one, but the teachers can use it for free.
I had a question.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful.
Badr, I had a question. Can I ask a question? Badr, can you hear me?
Please.
So Badr, I have used.
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
I have used a platform a while ago, which used to be something similar. It used to be called, I'm sure you're familiar with it. It used to be called Edmodo. Edmodo, it used to run on the similar pattern as Moodle.
Yes.
It's no longer working. I don't know why they pulled it up, but it was a wonderful. Yeah. How is it different from Edmodo? If you're familiar with the platform.
Very similar. We're very similar. Mm. Yes, absolutely. So we're familiar with Edmodo. Unfortunately, Edmodo has been reintroduced differently in the market, where the focus right now is really B2G, where they focus on deals with governments after they've been acquired by a Chinese company. Mm-hmm. So we are very similar as such. Yeah. Only, for a long time, Edmodo and us, we were covering different geographical locations. Mm-hmm. Our key focus has been in the GCC and MENA region, where we engage over thousands of institutions on a daily basis. And Edmodo has been very much popular in East Asia, in the US, and parts of Latin America as well. They had some presence in Egypt. We're very similar. So a lot of similarities. As like I said, LMS tools, they share so much in common. Almost all the tools share, I would say, 95% of the functions. Then it becomes just a matter of how those functions look and feel. What is my experience as a user using those functions? How many steps do I take to achieve my desired outcome as a teacher or as a student or as a parent? And then this becomes really the key differentiator between the different tools, and in also making a tool more suitable for different geographical locations, different segments, and different types of educational institutions.
It's actually very similar to
Wonderful.
Schoology as well. Schoology, and I used Edmodo for almost 5 to 6 years, and of course it was an amazing platform. I would definitely love to use yours because it was if it's exactly similar, it was a wonderful platform. It made my life simpler, to be honest. You know, I preferred using it more than the LMS from the college. It was easy, mobile friendly, and very easy to use.
Yes. Now, traditional LMSs like, say, Blackboard or Moodle, these have been around for quite some time. And that means they've been around from before the mobile, the smartphone, time, where smartphones took over how people engage and how people use the internet. So which means they have developed their systems from bottom up to be suitable for web platforms, for web viewing, which means if you use it from your laptop, then you feel great. But then when you use it from the phone, then you feel it's either lacking on functionality or lacking on experience. And then the new wave of tools like Edmodo, like us, like other tools also in the market, no, they came after with the mobile and smartphone as a priority. So we developed tools to become more user-friendly on the mobile itself. And that plays a huge factor in, like you mentioned, being convenient and being a preferred tool, especially when being, when you're on the go and you need to do something really fast, you need to engage with your students or share certain content. That's when a tool like Edmodo or MyU or other ones become very handy.
Useful. I used to share all my vocabulary there, and the students, didn't have to sign into the LMS. They would just, go through the vocabulary, and also it used to allow recording yourself, just as I think you also allow here, recording yourself for vlogs, as we call them, vlogs, isn't it? Video logs.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's like the full suite of formats, and then it's really up to the teacher on how they use it. Some teachers record themselves in different video files and share those with the students. Some share an existing file, maybe that's already uploaded on YouTube, and engage on that. But yeah, it has the full suite of tools that a teacher would need to engage and to drive interactivity and personalization.
People are asking for the website.
Wonderful.
Can you show the website? People are asking for the website, Badr. Can you show the website, please? And maybe write the full name or the link in the chat box, so people can go there. Some people are asking for it.
Yeah, okay. So the website is myu.co. myu.co. And I'll be inviting it here in the chat as well.
Yeah, so it will be easy for people to go there.
myu.co. Yeah. Actually, I'm as excited and eager to learn from you. What are the insights? Like what type of data and insights do you feel is most useful to capture for you as educators to be able to provide more personalization within your classes?
Yeah.
So
I think-
anyone who would love to share, I'd really appreciate that.
So we are already moving into coffee time. I think we can continue this discussion. We have half an hour. We can continue this. What time is it? We still have 10 minutes. You can keep talking. People can have a good interaction because the next session will start approximately at 6:30. So we do have a long time in between, which you can use. Yeah.
May I
Yeah.
share
Come on.
my own insights? Could you please repeat that question one more time? Like, are you trying to relate my U with any other LMS platform?
Not necessarily. I'm trying to get really directly to the teachers and understand their experiences when it comes to providing personalized teaching within their classes, and the kind of information that they feel is required for them to drive more personalization for the students that they have in the class.
For example, in my case, when I use Canvas, what really helps is having modules. Having modules per subject with their weekly plans that and assignments, quizzes, midterm, final, the online videos that would help, pre-recorded lessons, and that I myself have done designing courses, helps them with their lecture notes. It's like a whole content, like chapter by chapter, that they go through for asynchronous classes, where they can read through. It has also a mobile-friendly app, teacher app, Canvas, student app, where they can, they wouldn't even need their laptop. They can be mobile on the road, anywhere from on the road, anywhere from in the world, and have access to those online materials. Another thing for the open resource education, for the books that they have an online link, they are actually like books that for open education resources. Yeah, they're books that they're free of charge to students, and they don't have to pay. Because one of the things that in US many students struggle is buying books. So we do offer open the open education resource class ebooks, so that the students don't have to pay for them, and they can access the materials anywhere that they are. This is my insight towards my online teaching experience.
Yeah, thank you. It's very much appreciated. So have you as educators come across a situation where you felt like a subset of students needs a different learning path or a learning method than the rest of the class? And how did you like manage? How did you find the most suitable tool to provide that kind of segregated teaching style?
I think people can unmute themselves and ask these questions.
Yeah, may I?
Sorry, just a minute, Badr, if you could stop sharing your screen, we will have a larger screen and we will be able to see people raising their hands. Yes, now it's better. Yes, now people can raise their hands. Please feel free to raise your hands and ask questions.
Hello.
Hey, Sandra. So Sandra is the third musketeer. Miss Sandra Stein is the third musketeer. We are three musketeers. Allison, say hi.
Hi, everyone.
We founded this group, the Three Musketeers. We are all here, alhamdulillah. Yes, Sandy, please go ahead.
Yeah, I missed unfortunately most of your speech because we have a new cat that entered our home and well, you know, kind of got a little behind times, and letting it get to know our other two cats and feel comfortable took a little time. But I'm very interested in looking at this application. The fact that it's applicable to K-12 and university is very interesting, and there are always a subgroup of students that we're dealing with students that are so low, particularly since COVID.
Yeah.
They are coming into undergraduate classes without the basics, and they struggle so much and they get so disheartened. And it's very very difficult to be able to meet all of those needs in a classroom. So something like this would be fantastic for an English class, to be able to you know, I mean, I might have students, for example, I have students with learning disabilities. I have students who they're fine, they just have very low English skills. And then we have those, we have a lot of students since COVID actually that are dealing with social anxiety. And most of them have recovered by this time, but there are still, I'm surprised, still so many students that are dealing with social anxiety, even now, multiple years past the COVID. And so they are having panic attacks. And I'm looking for something that can help build them up, you know?
Yeah.
Do you have, I missed it, but do you have like some kind of conversation component to your app?
Yeah, so MyU is built from ground up to be interactive and like a two-way stream where the teacher shares certain content. The students, of course, will be able to engage with the content. And then as they do, the app starts to capture insights. The app will capture how many times student A has viewed this content versus student B, and how many times student A has engaged with the content. And as we, develop it more and more, we'll be able to become more granular in the insights that we provide for the teachers. So say, for example, you share like a video about the difference between, say, a noun and a verb in English, for example. And then you share that. And traditionally, through LMSs, you just share and then you don't know what's happening on the other side. But now we're trying to develop this whole insight and data ecosystem where you'll be able to capture and understand student A, for example, seems to be struggling because they are viewing it all the way to, say, minute 5, and then they're not going, they're not continuing the video. Student B has completed the video and they have taken the test associated, the question associated with it, and they were able to answer. And going through those experimentation processes, it helps you understand who is struggling and why they're struggling and with what. And then this time it was we experimented with a video, for example. Next time it could be in the form of a voice mini lecture, for example, and then we see the result and capture the data associated with it. So that is really the path that we're taking with MyU, and that's what but we do have this conversational experience and the microblogging experience and the messaging aspect, which you can leverage to understand and become closer with your students, even outside of the class, and provide the opportunity even for shy students, for example, who in in an actual class setting might be shy to respond or to voice out their answers to questions or to participate. But a platform like that may bridge that gap.
Okay, thank you. I was thinking something more along the lines of student-to-student conversations that might take place, for example, outside of the classroom. But I guess, no, that's a little bit different. Okay. All right.
Actually, on that
Well,
front,
thank you so much.
yeah, well, actually, we do touch upon that, but we also understand that different educational institutions have different policies when it comes to enabling or disabling students to speak to each other. So the
true.
platform puts that decision and understand that's the management decision, puts that decision in the hands of the management, and they'll be able to define who can speak with whom, who can message whom, and we just create the tool
That
to
makes complete sense.
fulfill that.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you.
I had a question before I allow, Alison is also raising her hand. Badr, you mentioned once when you came to my office that you also integrated AI into it. How do you make use of AI? Could you just make a brief mention of that so that people are more aware how you're using AI into
Absolutely. So MyU integrates natively with ChatGPT. And the point here is not to provide just an additional window for people to engage with ChatGPT, because that's available. They can use it through external tools, or they can use it with OpenAI's direct tools to do that. But the point here is related to the insights that the teacher and the institution management will be able to capture on how the students are using AI, and therefore streamline and direct the training effort in the right direction to make sure that AI is leveraged in the most proper manner to as a learning tool, and to make sure that just like the calculator, where it once was banned from schools because the educational institutions didn't know how to deal with a tool that was able to compute and solve all the math problems, right? I think we're in a similar junction right now with AI, but I think insights and data related to how the students are engaging with AI is really the missing piece that will take the education space and the education ecosystem past the phase where they feel AI is a threat, to a time where AI could be used as a teaching and learning tool. And that's what really drove us to incorporate and integrate OpenAI's ChatGPT within the platform.
I think this is going to be the institutional license you're mentioning, Badr, isn't it? How it is going to direct it to the guided learning?
Certainly, yes. Certainly, yeah, absolutely. So data related to institutional decision-making would be in the institutional license for sure, yes.
Yeah. Alison, you wanted to ask a question, please. I'm so sorry. I've taken your time, my dear. Please go ahead and mute yourself.
Oh, that's okay. Well, first of all, you can just really feel that this is the future. We're getting we're time traveling a little bit ahead of ourselves, and we feel it. So it's really fascinating. And I'd like to ask a question. Dr. Badr, could you give an example of how MyU integrates AI? Is there a specific example you could give?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll be able to showcase what I mean by that. So I'll be able to share my screen back, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So this is the learning environment. This could be a class or it could be a school, right? Within the learning environment, we are able right now to introduce an account that represents AI. And we could name it whatever we need to name it. It could be called after the school, for example. University X AI, for example, or ChatGPT or whatever it is. So this will help bridge the gap and really kind of like break the ice where AI is not an external tool that institutions kind of like feel uncertain about, but it's more of an institution provided tool for the students, for the staff, for the teachers to do, say, research, for the students to help understand certain concepts, and students will be able to engage with it, just the way I'm engaging with it right now. Maybe a student is struggling to understand what an ionic bond is in chemistry. And it doesn't matter what the time is, doesn't matter if the teacher is sleeping or awake. If the student needs the answer to their question, the AI is going to be there to answer it. Maybe the teacher needs help with creating certain lesson plans. Create a lesson plan to teach English for a third grader. I'm just throwing out random questions here. But the key aspect is the institution will be able to gather the data and the insights related to how the teachers and the students are leveraging this tool, and therefore make sure that it's directed in the most productive manner, that it's not misused, that it's incorporated, and that it's part of the system.
In other words,
And
you're saying that it's predictive, not generative, isn't it? Kind of predictive.
That's the other bit. That's the other bit that we had a discussion about with Ms. Rana, which is Dr. Rana, which is being able to also fine-tune and train this model to provide not generic responses to questions, but specific responses that are that take into account the context of, say, the school level, the curriculum, and be able to provide those specific tailored responses to questions. That is also where AI is headed right now, through a process of fine-tuning.
Mariel has her hand raised. Mariel, please go ahead. Ask your question.
What I found, because I just started using AI a couple of months ago, if you don't have a good command on what do you want, and be very specific, this AI will not respond what you need. So writing skills is a very important thing that we have to teach our students to use AI.
Absolutely.
And how to do the command, because otherwise it will respond whatever, and the students will believe that AI is telling you whatever they think it is, and they will be totally lost. So how do we going to address what you need? So for me, I think it's even you're writing a lesson plan, but if you're not writing what you need for your lesson plan, it's not giving you what you need. So it's very important teachers to know how to use it, how to write the commands, and it's a short time that we can develop more important things in class. So I think we need to address how to teach, how to use it, how to write it, and all stuff. And for the students to understand, AI respond doesn't mean it's the correct answer.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're at a stage where there's so much training is required for us to leverage the possibilities that AI can bring about. And what you mentioned is very true. There's this whole process that's called prompt engineering, where you actually kind of like warm up your AI to make her understand what your objective is. And that can be through a sequence of responses. So AI functions in a way that's contextual, which means when I send a new prompt here, it won't treat it independently from the prior prompts. So when I say, for example, when I type here, can you summarize it? And I haven't referred to it in my most, in this prompt. The it here only can be understood in the context of the conversation. But the bot will understand that I'm referring to this lesson plan, and it will directly be able to provide the summary to it. And that process is called prompt engineering, or is called, warming up really the AI to achieving your desired outcome. You could, of course, especially ChatGPT is very, very creative in the, in the tone and the language that is being used. So maybe I can ask her to make it more informal. Make it more informal. And she'll make it more informal, more student, maybe oriented, or more engaging for young students. And as such, these sequences of prompts will, make sure that you have the most desired outcome out of the AI. So certainly, if you treat it, from, as a just a tool to get a response out of from single questions that you send, then you're not treating it you're not giving it justice. But if you treat it as like a sequence and a process of of getting and achieving the most desired outcome out of it, then that's when it becomes really beneficial. And I think to be able to achieve that, there's so much training that is required, and we cannot achieve that training without understanding where the students and where the teachers are today with respect to engaging with AI, and how we can help them, kind of like achieve the skills required for them to use it properly.
Alison, you want to ask another question?
Yes, please. So do I understand correctly that an individual student, let's say a high school student or a college student, could finish the course on their own, with their own directed learning using AI, and become their own teacher if they are motivated enough to do so? Would this be possible technologically?
I'm not sure I understood the. So you mean they'll become fully independent using the AI and not need the teacher? Is that what this is referring to?
Well, heading in that direction, of course, the teacher would have to be there somehow. How that rolls out in the presence of the teacher, how that rolls out in the future remains to be seen. I mean, right now it's we have the power and authority to some large degree, but in the future it may become less and less. And I just noticed that you were just typing questions and AI was answering them. And so isn't it true that a student could also do that? That, let's say I'm a chemistry student in high school and I really, really want to understand more about the element beryllium, or I can just go for it, correct? I can educate myself.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think the internet is making everyone more independent, as it's continuing to make information readily available for whoever is seeking it. Now, yeah.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but if I don't say this now, I might forget it, and it's really important.
Yeah.
What this means to me is that students' motivation, since they can own their learning and be independent to a large degree on this platform, that they would pursue their passion, and automatically they have the means to pursue their passion through AI to get the information they need. And in other words, they don't need like a lot of teacher encouragement and any sort of teacher prodding because the power to pursue is in their own hands. To me, that's very important.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this will definitely we're moving in the direction where all teaching methods will no longer be applicable, and everything needs to take into account the existence of AI. So asking students to write something and just evaluating their writing skills. Everyone has access to an AI chatbot where they'll be able to just prompt it to write whatever they need to, and they'll come back with an AI generated content. Now the question is, how do we still, with the existence of AI, make sure that the students acquire the necessary skills and not just rely on technology 100%? And I think the answer to that is the questions need to move to like a higher level than just generating text or generating analysis. I had a discussion with one university professor here in Kuwait, where he's very intelligently incorporating AI in his questions and quizzes, where he specifically instructs the students to ask AI to create, to for example, come up with a certain, analysis or maybe text, and then he would ask the students to evaluate the AI's response and provide their own version. So by doing that, AI is incorporated, but students are as equally encouraged to analyze and evaluate and come up with a better version of what the AI has been able to generate. So, and I think we'll definitely be needing to see more and more examples of that, where AI is taken for granted as part of the education ecosystem, and the way teachers engage with and the way teachers formulate their questions should take that into account.
I think with time, we are going to become use it more like information provider, just like Google. So I like what you just said, that that professor asked the students to analyze it. We can have, one of the sessions I attended at TEFL Arabia, people were saying that we could use different types of AI to provide information and then ask students to make a comparison or a comparative summary, to do work, but using AI. I have Alpesh. Alpesh, would you like to ask your question, please? Unmute yourself.
Yes, hello. Good afternoon, and thank you for organizing the event, TEFL Kuwait.
You're welcome, Alpesh.
My premise is that the reason why teachers must understand how to use AI in terms of implementation in the classroom and how to make sure the learner also learns is to understand that the system is very, very limited, first of all. So yes, it is amazing because it produces these wonderful syntactically correct sentences. However, there's something called computational verb theory. So that basically indicates that you can only input certain things into the system for it to perform a certain action. So as teachers, how do we use it? Now, when people write prompts that state, give me a sentence or give me a lesson plan, it is actually incorrect because the computer can calculate. It doesn't have arms. So you can only use the term generate.
Yeah.
You can only use terms execute. There are very specific verbs that humans perform through the educational process growing up, such as analyze, compare, evaluate, examine. Now, these verbs that humans use are the verbs that computers that we want to pass on to them. However, it's limited, and there are approximately only, I think, around 25 computational verbs that are actually applicable to the system. So when I use this, I use it for data analytics with my students. I've generated different things. I found that the only way to get a precise output is to have an input. So therefore, you must only use the past simple or the present simple or the future will. Why? Because those grammatical tenses indicate a 0 or a 1 probability. Past simple, did you go or did you not go? Present simple, I go. Any input you put into the system as an English language teacher, you must remove certain modal verbs: can, could, must, maybe, might. Must, you must include must, I beg your pardon. But any modal verbs of uncertainty lead to hallucination because a system is desperately trying to calculate something. So how we interact with this system also impacts how we use energy. If you use a prompt that is 10 words long, you consume that much more energy because the system requires energy. However, you only need to use 1 word or maybe 3 words to achieve the same outcome. So you also achieve sustainability that way too. So there are methods in which we as educators have to actually say, hang on a second, this is my learner. I treat my AI system as my learner. I train it. And because I know in 20 years, when I go to it, I want its data to be accurate. Its accuracy is required now. And we're not being as accurate as we are required to be, perhaps. And, you know, this is also down to neuroplasticity. When we ask students to analyze data, generate data, cluster data, map the data, we are teaching them to think in a very scientific or specific mathematical way. And I think we are lacking that overall in society. Otherwise, we wouldn't have the same problems repeating themselves. So we actually must, as educators, enforce the fact that we have to ask our students to analyze everything that is given to you by this system, and you can't take it for granted because it's just a chance. It's a chance. You can roll the dice and get the correct answer, you see, but the human aspect where teachers, you can never get rid of teachers. You can get rid of certain types of lawyers, certain types of accountants. You can get rid of certain layers of industries, but you can't get rid of the validators and the verifiers or the auditors. And that's what we are as English language teachers, I believe. We are the auditors of this knowledge. So it's up to us to actually turn around and say, hang on, if you want to teach somebody English and it's a computer, you must understand the language they speak, which is a 0 or a 1. So we have to now reduce our thought processes and then put them into the computer in that way. So that's what I'd like to share in regards to AI interactions so far.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much, Alpesh. That was informative. Now, I would have to interrupt because I want Miss Allison to share her slides. Allison, are you around? Because she would like to say a few words about special interest groups, because as president-elect, Miss Allison is responsible for taking care of the special interest groups. Allison, would you like to share your screen? Thank you so much, Badr.
Sure.
I hope you can hang around if you're not very busy, because we will continue in 8 minutes with Dr. Martin Puckner, okay? Yeah, Allison.
How did that sound?
Yeah, I have the message, host disabled participant screen sharing.